So in the last lecture we have completed that open well staircase design. Okay. So we have studied now how to design the dog-legged staircase and how to design the open well staircase. Okay. Only the numericals are in the examination. Only the values will get changed, but the design procedure is same. In the same way, you have to design for the dog-legged staircase as well as for open well staircase. Whatever I have given to you. Now let us see some objectives which are frequently asked in the examination regarding this topic. So we will take those objectives. Okay. So I will write question and then the option will be given to you. You have to choose the correct option. Okay. So the first question is the maximum number of steps, the maximum number of steps in the single flight is limited to okay dash. Your option A is 12, option B is 13, C is 10 and D is 11. Okay, so give the answer of this question. What is the correct answer? So the correct answer for this question is A. Okay, A is the correct answer, right? So the correct answer is A. A is the correct answer. Okay. So remember this: the maximum number of steps in a single flight is limited to 12. Okay. Beyond 12, we don't go for the. We cannot increase after 12 the number of steps. Okay. Next question is standard dimensions. Standard dimensions of trade for residential building is, and your options are A 270 mm to 300 mm, B 250 mm to 270 mm, C 200 mm to 250 mm, D none. Okay, none of these is one of the option. Now let me know what is the correct answer of this. The standard dimension of the trade for the residential building is. So answer is B. B is the answer given. So B is the correct answer. Okay. 250 mm to 270 mm for residential building. So we will move for the next question. Standard dimension for trade standard dimension of trade for public building is, okay, and your options are A 200 mm to 250 mm, B 250 mm to 270 mm, C 270 mm to 300 mm, D according to height of flight. Okay, according to height of flight. What is the correct answer of this? So the correct answer given it is C. Okay, so this C is the correct answer. Okay, C is the correct answer. So the next question. Minimum headroom. Minimum headroom over stairs. Over stairs shall be dash is 2.5 meter, B 3.2 meter, C 2.3 meter, D 2.1 meter. So these are the options. Minimum headroom over the stairs shall be. Headroom means where our stair ends and we will move to the terrace. Okay, when you are going on the terrace through stairs, then at the end of the stairs and when you are entering on the stair, there will be a headroom. Room is provided, some level is there, lintel level of that room. So the what is the minimum headroom that is asked? The question is what should be the height? So roll number 10 has given the answer 2.1. Anybody else? What is the answer? Roll number 63. Mahesh is saying 2.5. Any other answer? One answer is 2.1, second is 2.5. Anybody having any other answer with them? So the correct answer of this question is 2.1 meter. Okay. So the minimum headroom, they have asked you for the minimum headroom over the stair. So minimum is 2.1 meter. Okay. It should not be less than 2.1. You can go for 2.2, 2.3, 2.4, 2.5, whatever it may be. But minimum it should be 2.1 meter. Okay, nearly about 6 feet. So this is for the minimum headroom. Then your next question is live load, live load for for residential buildings is taken as. and your options are A 2 kilonewton per meter square to 3 kilonewton per meter square. Option B 3 kilonewton meter square to 4 kilonewton per meter square. Option C 4 kilonewton per meter square to 5 kilonewton per meter square. And option D 5 kilonewton per meter square to 6 kilonewton per meter square. Read the question and let me know the answer. The live load for residential buildings. What is the range of the live load you always take while designing? Roll number 11. Priyanka is saying 2 kilonewton per meter square to 3 kilonewton per meter square. Option A is the answer given. So anybody else? Any other answer? Okay, roll number 10. So Nali, she is also saying answer is A. So now for residential building it is 2 to 3 kilonewton per meter square. If the question is asked for the public building, then what will be the answer? Give me both the answers. You are saying for residential building it is in between 2 kilonewton to 3 kilonewton meter square. Okay, fine. Then I am not saying it is correct. I have said okay, fine. Then what will be the answer for public building? Okay, for public building it is 4 kilonewton per meter square to 5 kilonewton per meter square. Correct. So here the correct answer is for residential building. If you see for residential building it is in between 2 kilonewton per meter square to 3 kilonewton per meter square. Okay, this is for residential building. And instead of residential, if they ask you live load for public buildings is taken as public buildings are the विचारले. If they ask you the public building, then it is the answer C. It should be in between 4 kilonewton per meter square to 5 kilonewton per meter square. Okay, so here the ranges are given, different ranges are given. Sometimes they will not give you the range, they just give you the option in this way: A 2 kilonewton per meter square, B 3 kilonewton per meter square, C 4 kilonewton per meter square, D 5 kilonewton per meter square. Okay, so for residential building, if the range is not given, then you should give the answer 2 kilonewton per meter square. Okay, if the range is not given, please listen very carefully. Okay, and if the range is given between 2 to 3, then this is the correct answer which is in front of you. Okay, similarly for the public building also. Now for the public building, if the range is given, then your live load must be in between 4 kilonewton per meter square to 5 kilonewton per meter square for public building. Okay, and if the range is not given, then we give the answer simply 5 kilonewton per meter square. Normally for residential we take live load as 2 kilonewton per meter square, and normally for public buildings we take live load as 5 kilonewton per meter square. Okay, not more than 5 for public building. And for residential building, if the single value is given, then it is always 2. Okay, but sometimes 2.53 also taken for the residential building. So these are the answers here which are given. Okay, so these are the MCQ points, that is the last point of this unit. Okay, so in this unit we have discussed what is the stairs, then what are the different terminologies, some definitions: landing, trade, riser. Okay, all these things we have discussed. Then we have designed the dog-legged staircase. Detailed enforcement also we have drawn. After that we have designed the open well staircase, and detailed enforcement also we have drawn the detailed reinforcement also. Okay, and after that now MCQ questions, some of the important MCQ questions we have discussed over here. Okay, So this is all about your unit number 1. Okay. Now next we will move for unit number 2. Okay. So I will save this first. Okay. So now next unit we will start unit 2, and it is design of footings. Okay. Your unit number 2 is design of footings. Okay. So in this unit we are going to design square and rectangular column footings. Okay. We are going to design the square and rectangular column footings. You know what is the meaning of footing? Okay. Footings are designed to apply the load to the soil which is coming from the column or from the superstructure. Footing footing provides the, what we can say, the load which is coming from the column is distributed to the soil through footings. Okay. Footings are very important, as if we directly raise the column on the ground, then there will be the punching action, and due to the height of the column, there are very high chances of buckling of the column, and the column will fail. Okay, because already the columns are carrying the loads which is coming from the slab and column, a slab and beam. Okay, and in addition to that, if we raise the column directly on the ground, then soil pressure will be also there. Okay, upward soil pressure from the ground will act on that column, and due to the height factor, the height of the column, you if you see, the depth of the footings is not very large. Okay, except the pile foundation. Okay, so if the length is high, then the column will fail due to buckling, or it is simply fail because of this excess pressure. So that is why, to avoid this failure and as well as to evenly transfer the load to the soil, okay, we design footings which takes the load coming from the column, and they used to distribute it to the soil on a larger area. You see, the cross section of the column is standard section and it is small as compared to the cross section of the footings. Okay, we design the footings in such a way that it is having a large cross sectional area. What is the purpose behind that? The purpose behind that is, if the cross sectional area is the large, then the contact surface of the footing with the soil is also large. Okay, and due to the large contact surface, the load coming from the column, instead of it is concentrately acting on the ground, it is distributed over the larger area. Okay, so which again add this feature to the safety of the structure. Okay, so this is the footing. This is the basic work of the footing. So you know that footings are having many types. If you see the foundations, then the isolated footing is there, combined footing is there. In isolated footing also rectangular footing is there, then square footing. Okay. In combined footing there is a rectangular footing, then trapezoidal footing. Then deep foundations are also there, in which mat foundation is there, then pile foundation is there. Okay. So these are the different types of footings. In isolated footing, stepped footing is also there. Okay, we provide the footings by giving the steps. So these are some of the types of the footings. But here for our syllabus, there is no theoretical point is there for our syllabus. Okay, so here in this unit we are again going to perform two designs, or we are going to discuss on two designs. First is the isolated square footing, and second is the isolated rectangular footing. Combined footing is not there for your syllabus for design. Okay, so now we will start with our second unit. So first of all, we will go to the syllabus. Okay, design of design of isolated isolated, square and rectangular column footings column footings. Okay, so this is the syllabus. So book for this recommended book, it is, you can use this Ramamrutam book, which is very good. Okay, author is Ramamrutam. Okay, to use this book. Also there is one book, BC Punya is also there, that also you can refer, and one more author Jain is there, that also you can offer, use these books. Okay, but the best book is the Ramamrutam, you can refer that. Okay, so moving further, now about the title of the chapter. Title of chapter or unit. Okay. So for the about the title of the chapter, it is the design of footings. So this is important. You write it down about the title of the chapter. See, a structural member which transfers the load from column to ground is nothing but footing. Okay. Footing is the base of any structure of civil engineering. Okay. So therefore, the design of footing, it takes the prime importance in the design of the structure. So here I will write a structural member which which transfer the load which transfer the load from from column to ground is nothing but footing. Footing is base. Footing is the base of any structure, okay, of civil engineering. Hence, it has prime importance. Prime importance. Okay. So this is about the title of the chapter. The next is the, you can also copy it down with me. Central idea of the chapter. Central idea of the chapter. What is the idea? Okay. So this chapter is basically focus on Indian standard design of isolated footings, basic terminologies. Okay. So we are going to design the footing by using our IS 456-2000. Okay, some clauses are given in that. The design procedure of square and rectangular isolated footings are discussed in this chapter. Okay, so in this chapter, I have already told you we are going to discuss about design of isolated square and rectangular. Okay, so here I will write this chapter. This chapter focus on focus on Indian standard Indian standard design of design of isolated footing. Okay, the design procedures the design procedures for the design procedures for square and rectangular for square and rectangular isolated footings are discussed are discussed in this chapter. Okay, this is about the central idea of the chapter, and then last is the importance of chapter. Importance of chapter in the subject. Okay. So this chapter gives you the basic idea about the evaluation of dead load, live load forces coming on the footing, and the design procedure with placing of steel reinforcement. Okay. So due to this chapter now you will thoroughly understand the concept of isolated footing. Okay. So that is why this chapter is one of the important chapter or important unit. Okay. So here I will write down what is the importance. The chapter gives basic idea about evaluation of dead load, then live load, soil forces, soil pressure, okay, coming on footing. Coming instead of coming, you can write over use the word acting on footing. Yeah. And and the design procedure with placing of steel reinforcement with placing of steel reinforcement with placing of steel reinforcement, full stop. Okay, this chapter this chapter focuses on concept and design of isolated footings. Okay, concept and design of isolated footings. This is the importance of the chapter. Then after this, chapter outcomes. What you will learn from this chapter, that I will write over here. After completion of this chapter or unit, students will be able to able to first able to understand understand fundamental concepts fundamental concepts of footing and its design. Second, analyze analyze the footing. After completion of this chapter, student will be able to the footing analyze the footing for dead load and live load combinations. Third, design the footing. So these are the outcomes. First, you will understand the basic concept. Okay, then fundamentals of designing. Then you will be able to analyze the footing for dead load, live load, soil pressure, and different loading combinations. Then you will be able to design the footing. Okay, you will be able to design the footing. So first of all, in short, I will tell you what is the footing. I have already given you the introduction. What is the footing, and all of you know that what is the footing. Okay. So in short, I will give you that introduction in return, and then we will directly move to the solving the numerical. And while solving the numerical, I will explain you the steps. Okay, so that it will be clear to you. So now, introduction. Footings shall be designed Meeting shall be designed to sustain applied loads, applied loads, moments, moments, and forces, and forces to ensure that to ensure that any settlement, any settlement which may occur, which may occur shall be nearly uniform as possible, and and safe bearing capacity of soil, safe bearing capacity of the soil, of the soil is not exceeded. Okay, so whatever is the load coming from the column and whatever may be the stresses developed in the footing, those should be less than the SBC of the soil. Okay, so that there will not be any settlement and any other issue regarding the uh, load transfer, safe load transfer. Okay, so if I draw the diagram of the footing, I will draw the simple isolated footing. First, see, this is the column, this is the column, and the footing in the sectional elevation. You can see the footing in this way. This is the footing. This is the footing. So here you can see this is your footing, and this is called as isolated footing. Next one is this. This is nothing but your column. Column. Now, if you see the same thing in the plan, okay. So in plan now, see, this is your footing, okay, and column. Here somewhere your column will be there. Okay. Normally, what we try to do, see, this is the outside is the footing. This is the footing. If I draw the axis of the footing, now I will draw in the same color axis of the footing. See, this is the x-axis, the x-axis of the footing. This is y-axis of the footing. What we normally try to do, the axis of the footing must be coincide with the axis of the column also. That is the CG. CG of the column and CG of the footing should be lie on a single point. Okay, if they don't lie on the single point, if these two points are different, then there will be the generation of the eccentricity, then eccentric load will be there. Okay, as long as, if you see over here, as long as this axis of the column, that is, this is the CG of the footing, okay, and for the column also, if I draw the same thing, if I see the axis, see, this is the y-axis of the column, okay, and this is the x-axis of the column. Now from the diagram it is very clear that this point This point is nothing but the CG, centroid. This point is nothing but the centroid. So what we tries to do normally, we try to keep the centroid of the column and the centroid of the footing are on the same point. Okay, they should coincide with each other. If they don't coincide with each other, then there will be the generation of the eccentricity. Okay, so the eccentric loading will be there. Then you have to consider the additional moment while designing the footing. What is the difference? Then while designing the footing, you should consider the additional moment which is developed over there, that is P into E. That is your additional moment, and this moment is get generated or developed due to the eccentricity. When the CG of the column doesn't coincide with the CG of the footing, then there will be the generation of the eccentricity. Okay, and due to eccentricity, your moment is increased, and that moment is P into E. That is your increased moment, and that also you should consider while doing the design of that. Okay, so this is all about the footings. Then now we will take one numerical, and then side by side we will see the design procedure while solving the numerical only. Okay, so it will be clear to you how to design. So the question: a square column, a square column, a square column 500 mm by 500 mm. Just a minute. Hello, माझा आता 2:15 पर्यंत 2:15 ला चालू झालं ना. हा. A square column 500 mm by 500 mm carries carries an axial load carries an axial load of 1500 kilonewton of 1500 kilonewton. This is load coming from the column acting on the footing. Okay, and the size of the column is also given to you. So here the question is: design a square footing design a square footing for the column. Design the square footing for the column. The safe bearing capacity of soil, the safe bearing capacity of soil is 225 kilonewton per meter square. Now you have learned in geotech what is the SBC, safe bearing capacity of the soil. I assume that that concept is already known to you because in geotech 1, geotech 2 you might have studied this. Okay. So the safe bearing capacity of soil is 2 to 5 kilonewton per meter square. Use use M20 and Fe415. Use M20 and Fe415. Okay. Now once again read the problem so that we will come to know that what is given. So the numerical is: a square column 500 mm by 500 mm A square column. This 500 mm by 500 mm is the size of column. It is not the size of footing. Okay. They given you the size of column. Size of footing we need to determine what should be the size of footing for this column. Size of column is given. Then the axial load coming from the column, it is 1500 kilonewton. That is also given axial load. We need to design the square footing, and the SBC is 225 kilonewton per meter square, and they told us to use M20 and Fe415. Okay, so this is what is the given data we are having. So based on this, now we will try to design the footing. First is the load calculation. We have to estimate the total load. What is the total load coming on the footing, that we need to calculate first. Okay. Now if you see the footing in general also, imagine the footing in front of your eyes. Okay. So you tell me which types of loads are acting on the footing except the soil pressure. Forget about the soil pressure. Okay, uplift pressure from the soil. In general, dead load, live load, or earthquake load, whatever it may be, normally the on the footing, the load from the column is acting on the footing. The major contribution is the load which is coming from the column. Okay, this is the first thing. Second thing, the self weight of the footing. Okay, as our design for the footing is heavy, it increases its self weight of the footing. Okay, and it reached to the considerable value, so that we need to consider the self weight of the footing also while designing the footing. Okay, so major two loads we will consider first. First is the load coming from the column, and second is the self weight of the footing. So load from column. First thing is load from column. How much it is? It is given in the problem, 1500 kilonewton. Okay. Now weight of footing. Okay, that is self weight. Self weight of footing. Okay. So normally the self weight of footing is taken as 10% of the column load. So here I will write it is 10% of column load. We normally assume this. This is assumed. What we assume? We normally assume that as in the initial, in the beginning now, if we see, we don't know the dimensions of the footing. So we cannot calculate what is the weight of the footing. Okay, self weight of the footing. As we don't know the dimensions, we can't calculate the self weight. So for that purpose now, initially what we assume, the self weight of the footing is the 10% of the column load. Okay. Now if I move further, then if I write here the self weight of footing, then it is 10% of the column load, means 10 by 100 into column load 1500. Okay. So it will be 150 kilonewton. This is the self weight of the footing. Is it clear? Yes, no? Reply me fast so that we can move further. Just two loads we have considered, self weight of footing and load from column. Okay. So now calculate the total load. It is 1500 plus 150. How much is the total load? What is the total load? Do just addition. 1500 plus 150, how much it is? 1650. 1650 kilometer. Okay, now we got the total load. We know what is the bearing capacity. Okay, bearing capacity is nothing but it is like a stress, so it should be load upon area. Okay, so here we know that the formula for self bearing capacity, so the SBC, self bearing capacity, is nothing but it is total load divided by area of footing. This is the formula for SBC. Okay, so now just reshuffle the terms. So what we will get if I transfer this area of footing to the left hand side, which is equal to total load upon SBC. Okay, so this will give you the area of the footing. So total load 1650. What is the SBC, shape bearing capacity? This 225. Let me know the answer. Area of footing. 7.33. Okay. The answer is 7.33 meters square. This is the answer. Okay. So now this is the total area of the footing, but we need to design the square footing. Okay, in the numerical they told us to design the square footing. So for the square footing again you know that all sides are same. Okay, this is the property of the square. All sides are same. So here side of the square footing, one side we can calculate. Side of square footing is nothing but how to, now you know the area and you want to calculate the side. How you will calculate? The side of the square footing is nothing but under root 7.33, because this is area. So if you take the square root of area, you will get one of the side of square. Calculate the square root of this. Let me know the answer. 2.71. Okay, so this is 2.71 meter. Normal. So we will round up this for 2.75 meter. 2.75 meter. Okay, so as it is a square footing, both the sides are same. So here we can write provide provide 2.75 meter by 2.75 meter size of footing. This is the size of footing which we are now providing. Okay, so what is the size of column? Size of column is 0.5 meter by 0.5 meter. And what is the size of footing? The size of footing is 2.75 meter by 2.75 meter. Okay, so area of footing provided. How much area we have provided? Area of footing provided. Required area was 7.33. What we have provided now? 2.75 into 2.75. 7.56. Okay. So it is 7.56 meters square. What is required? 7.33, and what we have provided 7.56. Then it is okay. Okay. So now calculate the upward soil intensity. See, the footing will come into the contact with the soil. The footing is rest on the hard strata. It is rest on hard strata, so that uh, so that the settlement can be avoided. Okay. So but as it comes in the contact with soil pressure is also acting on the footing. Okay. So we will first calculate the upward pressure of the soil, upward intensity. Okay. So upward soil pressure. How to calculate this upward soil pressure? Let this be sigma. It is calculated as, this is upward soil pressure. Pressure is nothing but it is stress. Pressure is nothing but it is stress. Okay. So the upward soil pressure which is acting on the footing, it is the stress. It is, so the unit of stress and pressure are same. Okay. So what is the formula? Basic formula. It is load divided by area. So it is load on column divided by area of footing, which is equal to load on column 1500, area of footing 7.56. So what is the answer? What is the answer of this? 198.34. One 98.34 kilonewton per meter square. This is the upward soil pressure. Okay, upward soil pressure. Now calculate the ultimate soil pressure. Ultimate soil pressure is equal to 1.5 into 198.34, which is equal to 297.52. Okay. This is about upward soil pressure. Now see, basically here in the footing, normally what we do, we calculate the bending moment, and for that bending moment we provide the steel, and for that bending moment we take the check for depth. Okay, whether the provided depth is sufficient or not. But here, in that way, once it is bending moment is calculated and the depth is saved, then the next case is we check it for one-way shear and two-way shear. Okay, one-way shear and two-way shear. One-way shear and two-way shear means what? Imagine in a plan a rectangle that is your footing. Okay, it may be square, it may be rectangular, doesn't matter. Okay, from the edge of the column at a distance d, small d, that is the effective depth. From either edge of the column at a distance of effective depth, okay, at a distance of effective depth d, there is a generation of the shear force. Okay, and due to that shear force and that shear action, okay, the column will fail, okay, along that strip. So this is called as one-way shear. This is called as one-way shear. Okay. Similarly, two-way shear is also there. Similarly, two-way shear is also there. So we, after finding out the depth, we are going to take the check for one-way shear as well as for two-way shear. Okay. Now we will find the depth here. Instead of taking the check for one-way shear and two-way shear, what we will do, we will find out the depth by using the bending moment criteria, one-way shear criteria and two-way shear criteria, and from that whatever the maximum depth is there, that depth we are going to provide for the footing. Okay. So now depth of footing. Next step. This is your step number one. Up to this point now, your step number one is finished. Now your step number two, calculation of depth of the footing. Okay. So depth of footing. Okay. First, first here, depth from two-way shear consideration. I will explain you how it fails, what is two-way shear. Just right now, just you need to copy down with me. So after this write-up, I will explain to you what does it mean. Two-way shear consideration. Okay. For the two-way shear consideration now, the critical section is is at a distance d by 2 from from edge of column. Now we will draw one diagram so that it will be easier for you to understand. See now, this is the important thing. Pay total attention towards here. This is the column. Sorry, this is the footing. And now inside footing, column is there. In plan, if you see it, it look like this. Now I will draw the column. Here it is the column. Okay. Now see, this column is how much? It is 0.5. This is also zero point 0.5. Square column is there. 500 mm by 500 mm means 0.5 meter by 0.5 meter. Now what is happening, see what is two-way shear, or this is also called as punching shear. Have you observed the punching machine? Okay, now if you observe the punching machine carefully, what we generally do, we take the piece of paper which we want to punch it and what place it in the file. What we generally do, we insert the paper into that punching machine and we punch or we press with the help of our hands. Okay, and then it will get punched. So that is called as punching, means what, it will get penetrate through that paper. Okay, at this punching machine there is a rod of the punching machine, small rod, that will get penetrate from piece of paper, that is from the paper. Now imagine that that paper is a footing. Okay, and that punching machine column rod, punching machine rod is column. Okay, so what column tries to do, due to this heavy load, due to the heavy load on the column, what column tries to do, column tries to punch through this footing. Okay, जो हमारी पंचिंग मशीन होती है उसमें क्या होता है, we insert the paper into the punching machine and we press it by the hand. What we are doing by pressing it, we are applying the force. Okay, we are applying the force on that rod so that that rod of the punching machine will get penetrate through the piece of the paper. Okay, and after the penetration, if you observe, you will find a circle, a small circle of the paper. Okay, that is the penetration action, that is the punching action, it is called as punching action. Same thing is going to happen over here, that is called as two-way shear or punching shear. Now imagine that that piece of paper is nothing but your footing. This is the footing, is nothing but your piece of paper, and this column is nothing but the rod of that punching machine, small rod of that punching machine, with the help of which we punch. So what this column tries to do, this column tries to penetrate through the footing. Okay, और ये सब क्यों होता है? Why column tries to penetrate through the footing? Due to the heavy load which is transferred to the column. Okay, from slab load is transferred to beam, from beam it is transferred to column. So the columns are the members which carries heavy loads. Okay, and due to this heavy load it will try to penetrate. Okay, मग पेनिट्रेशन होते हैं म्हणजे काय, पेनिट्रेट होगा मतलब क्या होगा, ये जो कॉलम का एरिया है इतना ही एरिया सिर्फ पेनिट्रेट होगा क्या फुटिंग में, नहीं ऐसे नहीं होता है. Okay, it will not happen. Not only this much area of the column tries to penetrate in the footing. No, it is not like that. Which area tries to get penetrate? So if you take the section at a distance of d by 2 at every end. Okay, so from this end, if I take a length which is equal to d by 2, where d is the effective depth of the footing. D is the effective depth of the footing. From this side again up to this. This is also d by 2. From this side, if you again go at a distance of d by 2. From this side also the same thing is there, d by 2. Now if I join all these points, now if I join all these, okay, I will draw the dotted line so that it will be easier for you to understand. Okay, so whatever the dotted area I am drawing now, this whole dotted area tries to punch through the footing, tries to punch through the footing, and if this dotted area is get succeed in punching the footing, or if it gets succeed in penetrating the footing, then the entire structure will fail. ओके, ये जो पूरा कॉलम है, और ये कॉलम सिर्फ कॉलम पेनिट्रेट नहीं होगा, तो कॉलम के आजू चारों तरफ, ऑन द ऑल द फोर साइड्स ऑफ द कॉलम, कितने डिस्टेंस तक, डी बाई टू इतना डिस्टेंस तक जो भी एरिया आएगा, जितना भी एरिया वो कवर होगा, वो सब का सब पूरा का पूरा एरिया कॉलम से पेनिट्रेट हो जाएगा. Okay, column will tries to penetrate through the footing by this area, which is shown by dotted line, which is shown by dotted line. अब ये एरिया कितना होगा? So how much? So if this is 0.5, if this is 0.5, then this is d by 2 and this side also d by 2. So total, if you see, this total is 0.5. This total is 0.5 plus d. The distance कितना होगा? 0.5 plus d on this side. Okay. On this side also the same thing is there. Okay. On this side also this distance, it is nothing but this is 0.5 plus d, where d is what? D is the effective depth of footing. We don't know the value of d. Okay, so we have written it as d, small d. Is it clear? What is the punching action? Yes, no, or shall I repeat this? Is it clear? What is punching action? This is called as two-way shear or punching shear. Fast, let me know. Shall we move further, or you want it to repeat this? See, unless and until you give me the reply, how I am going to teach you, I don't know. Okay, if this is the case. Hmm, okay, you repeat. Okay, so see here. I will tell you in Hindi, and then entire thing I will explain to you in English. Okay, so English and Hindi in both the language I will tell you. So first of all, इधर क्या है? ये जो है ये footing है, बाहर का जो है ये footing है. अंदर footing के क्या है इधर? This is the column. What is the size of column? It is 500 mm by 500 mm. So it is 0.5 meter by 0.5 meter. अब पंचिंग मतलब क्या होता है? तो ये जो कॉलम है, इस कॉलम पे ह्यूज डाउनवर्ड लोड इज एक्टिंग. इस कॉलम पे जो इन डाउनवर्ड डायरेक्शन में बहुत बड़ा लोड एक्ट हो रहा है. क्यों? क्योंकि ये कॉलम है वो ग्राउंड लेवल का कॉलम है, ग्राउंड फ्लोर का. उसके ऊपर फर्स्ट फ्लोर हो सकता है, सेकंड हो सकता है, थर्ड हो सकता है, या नंबर ऑफ फ्लोर्स विल बी देयर. ओके, सो दिस कॉलम कैरीज अ ह्यूज अमाउंट ऑफ लोड. और इस लोड की वजह से क्या होता है? ये जो फुटिंग है, दिस कॉलम विल ट्राइज टू पेनिट्रेट थ्रू दिस फुटिंग. ओके, एक कॉलम क्या करेगा कि इट विल ट्राई टू पेनिट्रेट थ्रू द फुटिंग. ओके, सो अगर ये पेनिट्रेशन एक्शन होगा, मतलब कॉलम फुटिंग से पेनिट्रेट होगा, तो ये फुटिंग फेल हो जाएगा. और वंस द फुटिंग गेट्स फेल, देन योर एंटायर स्ट्रक्चर विल गेट कोलैप्स. ओके, और ये कॉलम जो पंचिंग हो रहा है अंदर, फुटिंग के अंदर जो पंच हो रहा है, वो सिर्फ ये कॉलम का एरिया नहीं रहेगा 0.5 by 0.5. व्हाट यू नीड टू डू? You have to take a distance of d by 2 on the either side. This is your footing. Okay. Now this is the column. This is the column. Okay. So now punching means what? Punching क्या होता है? हम पेपर को पंच करते हैं ना. Same action is there. How do we punch the paper? We take a piece of paper, we insert it into the punching machine, we press the punching machine. Pressing मतलब क्या होता है? We are applying the force on the machine. Force, load. ओके, वो जो पेपर है वो पंचिंग मशीन में डालने के बाद अपने आप पंच नहीं हो जाएगा. यू हैव टू अप्लाई द लोड, यू हैव टू अप्लाई द फोर्स. द सेम स्टोरी इज हियर. ओके, यहाँ पे क्या होगा? दिस कॉलम कैरीज अ ह्यूज डाउनवर्ड लोड. ओके, इस पे लोड ज्यादा होने वाला है कॉलम पे. सो बीच में क्या है? इधर फुटिंग है, उसके फुटिंग के नीचे ग्राउंड है. तो व्हाट दिस कॉलम विल डू? दिस कॉलम विल ट्राई टू पंच टू द फुटिंग। इस फुटिंग जो है, इस फुटिंग का सपोज ये जो लेंथ है वो L है एंड सपोज नाउ द विड्थ इज B। सो इसका जो एरिया होगा इस फुटिंग का, इस फुटिंग का एरिया क्या हो रहा है, B इंटू L। ओके, और कॉलम का एरिया क्या है, 0.5 by 0.5। So now this column of area 0.5 by 0.5 will tries to penetrate। penetrate मतलब समझता है ना आपको, penetrate मतलब is tries to going through that footing। okay, it tries to penetrate through the footing which is having area B into L। in our case this is 2.75 by 2.75। हमने निकाला है ना, कितना है 2.75 by 2.75, उतना हमने प्रोवाइड किया है। दिस इज 2.75 meters and this is also 2.75 meters। but whenever this penetration action is there, punching action is there, so what we need to do, we design our footing or we should provide the depth of the footing in such a way that it should resist the punching action of this column। Are you getting my point? This column will tries to punch through the footing so that, but if it gets succeed, if the column is gets succeeded to penetrate through the footing, then our structure will fail, footing will fail। so what is our job now, so we need to design our footing or we need to keep the depth of the footing up to us in such a way that the depth of the footing should be designed in such a way that this punching action of the column will get resisted। the column should not be able to punch or to penetrate through the footing। और अभी प्रॉब्लम क्या है कि कॉलम का एरिया 0.5 by 0.5 है, फुटिंग का एरिया कितना है 2.75 by 2.75। सो कॉलम, सिर्फ कॉलम पेनिट्रेट नाही होत आहे काय, फक्त कॉलमचा एवढा एरिया जो आहे तोच एरिया पेनिट्रेट होत नाही, तर कॉलम काय करणार, आजूबाजूचा एरिया घेऊन पेनिट्रेशन करणार। okay, that area which is near to the column will help the column for this penetration। ओके, आणि ते एरिया कुठला असणार आहे, कुठपर्यंत असणार आहे, तर तो म्हणजे तुमचा क्रिटिकल सेक्शन विच इज ॲट अ डिस्टन्स ऑफ D/2। ओके, विच इज ॲट अ डिस्टन्स ऑफ D/2 फ्रॉम द फेस ऑफ द कॉलम, from the face of the column। now if I draw this critical section, it will be like this, this is the critical section। okay, and if I give you the dimension, this should be D/2, this is also D/2, this is also D/2 this side, and ये जो होगा ये भी D/2 होगा। so ये ग्रीन जो मैंने ड्रॉ किया है अभी, ये वो दिस रेक्टेंगल इन ग्रीन वॉट एवर आई हैव ड्रॉन, दिस इज द एरिया विच विल गेट पेनिट्रेट along with this column। मतलब जब पेनिट्रेशन और पंचिंग एक्शन होगा तो सिर्फ 0.5 by 0.5 इतना एरिया पेनिट्रेट नहीं होगा, तब कितना एरिया पेनिट्रेट होगा, ये जो ग्रीन में मैंने रेक्टेंगल यहाँ पे बनाया है, द एरिया विच आई हैव शोन इन ग्रीन, दिस रेक्टेंगल, this much of area will try to penetrate through this footing। and as a engineer or as a designer, it's our job to stop this punching action। okay, so we have to design the depth of the footing in such a way that this punching should not get successful। okay, our footing should not get failed। so this punching action of this column, this punching action of this column or this penetrating action is known as punching shear, or it is also called as two-way shear। it is also called as two-way shear। so now if this is 0.5, this is D/2 and D/2, so this total dimension will be 0.5 plus D/2 plus D/2 means कितना हुआ D। similarly this side also it is 0.5 plus D। okay, where this D is nothing but, let this D is what, effective depth effective depth of what? Effective depth of footing. Yet we have not evaluated, yet if we have not calculated the value of effective depth, but let us say that D is the effective depth of the footing. Okay, D is the effective depth of the footing. Okay. So here you can see that this is your two-way shear. This is we are calculating the depth from two-way shear consideration, or this is also called as the punching shear. This is also called as the punching shear. So here it should be the case that whatever the nominal shear stress is there, tau v, nominal shear stress, we have studied in DCS 1 already. Tau v is nothing but nominal shear stress. This tau v, it is called as nominal shear stress. This is called as nominal shear stress. Okay, and tau c, it is called as permissible shear stress. This is called as permissible shear stress. Okay, so here nominal shear stress means actually the shear stress which is generated in the member, and tau c means the permissible value of the shear stress. This is the standard value given in the IS code. Tau c's value, all tau c values are always given in the IS code, and tau v values we always calculate the tau v, that is the shear stress. Okay, and tau v, how do we calculate the tau v? Tau v is the shear stress. It is equal to shear force divided by area of shear. That is Vu upon Bd. Tau v is nothing but it is Vu upon Bd. This we have already said. Okay, so here what is the condition? Your tau v, it should be less than or equal to tau c. Then and then it is safe. ये सेफ कब होगा फुटिंग? जब आपका नॉमिनल शेयर स्ट्रेस जो है वो परमिसिबल शेयर स्ट्रेस से लेस, कम, या परमिसिबल शेयर स्ट्रेस इतना ही होगा, देन एंड देन इट इज सेफ. ओके, मतलब if your permissible shear stress is 2.3, okay, and if your tau v is 2.2, then it is safe. If it is 2.1, then it is also safe. If it is 2.3 equal, then also it is safe. If it is equal, then also it is safe. Okay, but once it cross the value of 2.4, suppose it is 2.5 now, then this is unsafe, this is not safe. ओके, तो मैक्सिमम लिमिट क्या है कि टाउ वी की जो वैल्यू है वो टाउ सी से क्या होनी चाहिए? कम होनी चाहिए, लेस होनी चाहिए. और एट द मैक्स ऑप्टिमम क्या है? ऑप्टिमम ये है कि वट एवर द वैल्यू ऑफ नॉमिनल शेयर स्ट्रेस, सेम शुड बी द वैल्यू ऑफ परमिसिबल शेयर स्ट्रेस. दैट इज योर ऑप्टिमम डिजाइन. ओके, टाउ वी की जो वैल्यू है सेम वैल्यू परमिसिबल शेयर स्ट्रेस की है, देन इट इज ऑल्सो सेफ. है, दैट इज दैट दिस कंडीशन इज यूज्ड टू अचीव द इकोनॉमी. Okay, so I hope now you understood this part. So now let us see how to design it. Okay, now all this we are doing for the depth calculation. Remember this. We want to calculate the depth by using the two-way shear consideration. Okay. So as per the IS code, what is the permissible stress? Tau c. How do we calculate the permissible stress tau c? Its formula is 0.25 under root FCK. This formula is given in the IS code. Okay, you can check the code. Tau c it is equal to, ये tau v का जहाँ पे फॉर्मूला दिया है ना, उसके ही पास में नेक्स्ट पेज पे शायद you will get this formula tau c. Okay. So tau c is nothing but it is tau c is equal to 0.25 under root FCK. Okay, so which is equal to tau c. What is the permissible value? 0.25 under root FCK. FCK is 20. Okay, FCK is 20. M20 and Fe415. It is given in the problem. So what will be the value of tau c then? Let me know the value of tau c. Permissible shear stress. What is the value? It is 1.118. Okay. It is 1.118 Newton per mm square. It is Newton per mm square because 20 it is FCK. It is in Newton per mm square. So your answer of tau c permissible shear stress, it is 1.118 Newton per mm square. Okay. Now if I want to convert it into kilonewton per meter square, what will be the value of tau c then? I want to convert this into kilonewton per meter square. Why I want to convert this into kilonewton per meter square? Because my all the dimensions are in meter, and also the safe bearing capacity, it is also given in kilonewton per meter square. Okay, so I want to keep all the units same. Either you convert those quantities into Newton mm, or either you can convert this permissible shear stress to kilonewton meter. Okay, so instead of converting all the values, conversion of one value is suitable for us. So convert this 1.118 Newton per mm square to kilonewton per meter square, and let me know what is the value. Hmm. What is the conversion? Very simple thing is there, no? Just I have asked you 1.118 Newton per mm square है. I want to convert this Newton per mm square into kilonewton per meter square. Let me know the answer. 1.118 Newton per mm square is equal to how much kilonewton per meter square? It is 1118. It is 1118. Why so much time is required? See, it is very easy. I will tell you 1.118. This is Newton per mm square. Okay. Now see 1.118 will as it is into. Now Newton to kilonewton. 1 Newton is equal to 10 raised to minus 3 kilonewton. Here nothing will be there, so 1 is there. 1 Newton is 10 raised to minus 3 kilonewton divided by 1 mm square. 1 mm is equal to 10 raised to minus 3 meter. 1 mm is equal to 10 raised to minus 3 meter. Here this I can write it like this. This is nothing but it is 1 mm square. The same thing is that Newton per mm square. So 1 mm is nothing but 10 raised to minus 3, and then square of this, then square, then this mm will get converted into the meter square. Okay, so here the thing is that it is 1.118 into 10 raised to minus 3 kilonewton divided by 10 raised to minus 3 का स्क्वायर है, इसका स्क्वायर है 10 raised to minus 3, तो 10 raised to minus 3 into 10 raised to minus 3 meter square. So this one quantity will get cancelled. So 10 raised to minus 3, if you shift it to numerator, then it will become 10 raised to 3. So your final answer is 1.118 into 10 raised to 3 kilonewton per meter square. This is your answer. Okay, so that is why this is your permissible stress. Your permissible stress. Okay, so permissible shear stress is 1118 kilonewton per meter square. So now we want to calculate the shear force. Suppose now this punching action takes place. Suppose now ये punching action हो गई. Suppose if this all area which is given on in green, if this whole area get punched through the footing, then what will remain? What will remain if this punched area is getting, if this green area is punched through the footing, then what will remain? The remaining thing, remaining area I will hatch by the another color, so this area will remain. This area will remain. Okay, this area. Whatever I have hatched now, this area will remain as it is because the other area, this inside area will get punched through the footing. Okay, so again the basic formula. Now I want to calculate the shear force. I know the permissible stress. Now I want to calculate the shear force. So how do we calculate the force? Force is nothing but, that is nothing but stress or pressure into area. This is our basic formula. Stress is nothing but pressure into area. Force is nothing but stress into area or pressure into area. So here force we want to calculate the shear force, that is VU. Okay. Stress or pressure. Here we know the value of soil pressure. What was the value of soil pressure? We have calculated now. What was the value of soil pressure? Let me know the value of soil pressure. How much it is? आलो होता ना काहीतरी आन्सर 297.52. Okay. So the soil pressure is 297.52. This is your soil pressure into area. So now this is the hatched area we are going to consider. Why? Because after the punching, this this whole area 1, 2, 3 and 4, this whole area, this rectangle is going to penetrate through the footing. So what will remain then after this penetration? What will remain? Whatever area I have hatched, that area will remain. Okay, and what is the value of that hatched area? How much it is? If you minus this area, okay, this inside area which is punched area through the area of the footing, then you will get this remaining area. Okay, then you will get this remaining area. So it is VU is equal to, it is nothing but, this is your pressure, soil pressure into area. So the remaining area will be, it is 2.75 square minus 2.75 square means what? This footing. Area of this footing is 2.75 square minus this square. Zero point 0.5 plus d bracket square. Okay. So minus 0.5 plus d square. Is it clear? If anybody is having any doubt in this, you can ask me. ये क्वांटिटी कहाँ से आई एरिया की? ये एरिया की क्वांटिटी यहाँ से आई है. ये जो मैंने हैच किया हुआ एरिया है ना, फ्रॉम देयर वी हैव टेकन दिस एरिया. वो कैसे लिया? तो ये जो टोटल फुटिंग का एरिया है, उस एरिया में से ये जो अंदर का ग्रीन एरिया है, कॉलम का नहीं, कॉलम विल पेनिट्रेट अलोंग विद दिस होल एरिया. तो ये जो एरिया है ये कितना होगा? 0.5 प्लस डी इंटू 0.5 प्लस डी, सो 0.5 डी स्क्वायर. तो इस टोटल एरिया में से ये अगर अंदर का एरिया जो है पेनिट्रेशन का, ये अगर मैंने माइनस किया तो रिमेनिंग एरिया कौन सा रहेगा? द एरिया विच आई हैव हैच्ड विद येलो इंक. ओके, एंड दैट area we have taken over here for the calculation, for the further calculation. Okay, so now simplify this. We use equal to, now do the calculation. 297.52 into 2.75 square. So here first we need to solve this bracket. So it is 297.52 as it is into here in this bracket 2.75 square. How much it is? 7.56, 7.56 minus here 0.5 plus d. So it must be solved like this: a plus b bracket square, a plus b bracket square, which is a square plus b square plus 2ab. ओके, सो 0.5 प्लस डी, ऐसे ही सॉल्व करना पड़ेगा आपको. So here the minus sign is there, minus sign, here the minus sign is there. Okay, so 0.5 square, that is 0.25, it is minus because ब्रैकेट के बाहर माइनस साइन है, सो अंदर के साइन रिवर्स हो जाएंगे. देन 2ab, so again minus 2ab means what, 2 into 0.5 into d. So 2 and 0.5 will cancel each other, and what will remain? Only d will remain. D. Then minus d square. Minus d square. So therefore V is equal to 297.52 into, simplify this now, 7.56 minus 0.25. How much it is? 7.31. This is 7.31 minus d square. So multiply inside, so that we will get one equation. Multiply inside. So therefore Vu is equal to, if I multiply this 7.31 with 297.52, then it is 2174, 2174.87. Right? Then it is 2174.87 minus, if you multiply, it is 297.52d, then again minus, it is 297.52 d square. So this is our equation number 1. This is our equation number 1. Okay. So the remaining part, whatever is there, that we will cover in the next lecture. So whatever part today I have told you, please see that part once again. Please go through these points, whatever I have told you in this lecture now. And if you are having any difficulties, you can ask me in the next lecture. Okay, so that we will solve that doubt first regarding this unit, and then we will move further.